Namaste, Snowgies. Welcome to another rendition of Cosmic Yoga. Again, still snowbound in Kansas City, Missouri. Hopefully this is the last day, but I didn't want you to miss your Cosmic Yoga practice tonight. And tonight's a really special one. We're going to do a class called the Hippy Shake, and it's mostly devoted to hip openers. So the hip opening is really important for overall health and well-being, of course, for your flexibility and to get into the right positions to build your strength and your balance. But they just feel really great, especially once you're finished. Some of you may have a little bit of trouble getting into the deeper realms of these postures tonight. So please do remember to listen to your body and go only as deep as you feel you can go, and then take a couple of really long, slow, deep Ujjayi breaths while you're in that deep part of the posture, and see if you can release whatever resistance is there, whether it's in your mind, your ego telling you, oh, I don't want to do this, or whether it really is your body saying, hey, we've had enough. If it's the body, after a couple of breaths, then back off and come down to a lower level, or maybe even just take child's pose for a moment and absorb where you were. So we want to be very sure that you understand you don't have to do every single thing I'm doing, and if you feel like you want to take a more advanced position when I'm in the lower levels and you know that position, go right ahead, creatively express. This is your practice, and I'm just here to guide you. Remember too to listen to your breath. We're going to breathe Ujjayi breath most of the practice, and of course that breath is simply breathing in and out through the nose, dragging that breath in the back of the throat, very relaxed jaw, relaxed tongue, relaxed throat, and you're going to hear a little surf or wind sound. Sometimes children say it sounds like Darth Vader, but I don't want it to be that drastic. You just want to hear the breath. You'll be often will be in a posture for a while, and so I invite you, when you can, to close your eyes and to really focus on the inhale and the exhale, and to really feel the cool air coming in as you breathe in and the warm air releasing as you breathe out. We'll begin tonight's practice with just a few moments of a chant and then some breath work, and then we'll get right into the asana practice. In Cosmic Yoga, we try to hit on most or all of the 8 limbs of yoga every practice. So you'll hear me giving a little bit of yoga philosophy and history, a little bit of explanation of how it's affecting you esoterically as well as physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and then also some things maybe even from Ayurveda, the sister science to yoga. So you get a lot in Cosmic Yoga, and we never know what's going to happen next. So I invite you to get very comfortable, maybe find a cushion. I'm sitting on the edge of my cushion. I like to have my hips higher than my knees so that I can get very comfortable in my seated meditation. You could have a rolled towel under your hips, or you can sit on the floor if you like. You don't have to sit in this position. You could sit in whatever position feels nice to you. We're going to bring the music down, and we're going to become very quiet and still. And as you sit on your mat or your cushion, I'm going to have you be reminded that we really want to have that spine nice and straight throughout the practice, unless we're doing a rounding sequence, and then I'll cue you for that. But most of the time we want that spine nice and straight, and to get it straight, we're going to lift up on the pelvic floor muscles just slightly. That's called the Mula Bandha, or the root lock. And then we're going to draw the belly button toward the spine just gently and lift it up under the rib cage. So you're lifting all your organs up and in. Draw your low ribs in. And at the same time, we're going to move into directional opposition. We're going to draw our shoulders down our back. And if you have trouble doing that, you may want to roll your shoulders a few times as if you're rowing a boat. To get those neck muscles and the shoulder muscles and joints nice and lubricated before we start our practice, drop the shoulders down the back, drop the tailbone under, and lift the crown of the head. So there's all this lifting up on the front and through the center of the body, and all this dropping down, not just relaxing down, but really using, as we get into the practice, those upper back muscles and lower back muscles to bring the back of the body down. That lengthens and helps to support the spine and the organs. So we're going to bring our hands to our heart center in the Anjali Mudra, or the prayer mudra, and we are going to chant Om just one time. It's the sound of creation, and we want to create something beautiful tonight in our practice. So take a deep breath in. Don't be shy. And as always, we want to take those few moments after a chant, after a mantra, to really listen and feel the silence. That's the most important part of the mantra or the chant. All right, so tonight's breath work that we're going to start with, it's really cold here in Kansas City. I don't know about where you're coming from. We have viewers from all over the world, which is really awesome. I just love the time we're living in, where I can use the internet to reach students from anywhere on our planet, which is just so humbling to know that people tune in. So that's great, and welcome to all of you. But tonight, it's cold where I am, and it's actually cold up here in the galactic attic. So I'm going to work on a pranayama, a breath practice called Kapalabhati breath. And Kapalabhati breath means breath of fire, or some people call it the bellows breath. So if you think about a fire that has gone down to embers, to glowing coals, you often will blow on it like this to give it more oxygen, to give it more energy as you put more wood on the fire. Or you see often, maybe not so much these days because it's kind of an old-fashioned thing, but a bellows, a thing that you do like this and it blows the air into the fire. And that really gives it a lot of energy, and heat comes up from the fire. Well, that's what we're going to do with our Kapalabhati breath. I do want to give you one caveat though. If you've got a little cold or you're a little stuffy, you may want to go and blow your nose first to clear your nasal passages before you practice this. So, and you can join us in the breath work when you come back. And what we're going to do is we're going to sit nice and tall. And you could bring your hands here to your lap, palms up if you like. Maybe you make Jnana Mudra with the forefinger and thumb causing a circle of infinity so that you loop that energy around through your body. And I want you to think about having a candle right here in front of you. And the candle flame is going to move with your breath. You're also going to have, even though we're nice and strong here in the body, we're going to use our abdominal muscles a lot in this breathing practice. You're going to pump the breath. So what we're going to do is we're going to inhale really strong. I'm going to do it really slowly first. Inhale and feel like you're pulling that candle flame towards you. And as you do, your belly inflates. And as you exhale forcefully, you're going to blow the candle flame away from you, and you're going to pull the belly up and in. So it kind of looks like this. Okay, so you can see my belly pumping volitionally. I keep my jaws very relaxed through this. And if you have trouble, if you notice you tighten up your jaws, the cool trick is to put the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. We call that the Bhaga Mudra, and it's used in a lot of my other practices that I teach. So you can look at some of my other webcasts that are in the archives later and find out about the Bhaga Mudra. It's got a lot of power. But also, physiologically, you put the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth or right behind your teeth. You can't help but relax your jaws. So you could do that. Make sure you have a moist mouth. So you may want to take a little sip of water first. And as we breathe Kapalabhati breath, I want you to stay in your own breath pattern. So you don't want to maybe go as fast or as slowly as I'm going. Or if you're in a room with other people, for instance, when I teach a big group at the Council of Light Center or elsewhere, we want each person to breathe at their own pace. And you might vary your pace. We're going to do it 3 small rounds. I highly recommend that you work your way up to a minute at a time, maybe 2 minutes at a time for each round, but that takes a while to build up to, and you'll see why in a moment if you're new to this. Also know that if you have high blood pressure, you might want to skip this breathing practice and just sit and breathe deeply with us while we do this, because it can cause a lot of pressure. It also causes a lot of heat. That's why we're doing it. We're going to build the heat in our body so that we can get into our nice hip flows tonight. But we're going to begin with Kapalabhati breath. And remember that also, along with breathing your own pace and varying the pace if you need to, if you start to get too dizzy or your mind just says, oh, I've had enough of this, again, maybe try it for another second or two. But if it really does feel irritating, stop breathing Kapalabhati. Come back into your normal breathing pattern. Close your eyes and wait in the silence until I ring the little chime to cue us all to stop. We'll go into silence for a moment, and then we'll come back after a tiny rest and breathe again. We're going to do this 3 times. So remember, this is your practice. Do it the way you feel like you need to do it tonight, and don't get drawn into somebody else's karma, all right, or breath practice. So we begin. Take a deep breath in, and begin your Kapalabhati breath. Everyone take a deep breath in. Hold the breath if you can. Release the breath. Keep your eyes closed and just feel the feelings in your body and your mind. Notice what's there. Excellent. And then we'll begin the second round. So again, a nice deep breath in. And begin. If you haven't already stopped, go ahead and stop and breathe in deeply. Hold the breath. And release it. So already I'm starting to get warm. I'm going to take my scarf off. And if you still feel like it, let's come into the third and final round of Kapalabhati, or breath of fire. Everyone, deep breath in, and begin. Deep breath in. Hold the breath. And release. Keep the eyes closed. Again, take a few moments in the silence. Meditate. Wonderful. Wiggle your fingers and toes and come on up onto your mat. And we are actually going to begin on our backs this afternoon, this evening. And so move your cushion out of the way. So this class is all about not just opening the hips, but really relaxing, learning how to get flexible in the whole body, and to really apply that not just in our physical body, but in our lives. I love to talk about how yoga is a metaphor for life. If you're flexible in your body, then your mind's going to be more flexible, and life is going to be more flexible around you, and you're going to be more flexible in your reactions and in your responses to life. So this is a really good thing to get into. So we're going to lie down on our mats. I'm going to fix the music here. And starting with a couple of practices that are really wonderful in the morning and in the evening, before or after you get out of bed in the morning and before you go to bed in the evening. So lie down on your mat. Hands down by the hips, palms down, and you may want to lift your upper back just a little and bring your shoulder blades down towards your hips, and then let your back weight fall onto the mat. And then you want to tuck your tailbone under and flatten the back to the mat, and then release. So that gets your spine kind of a little bit longer. And we're going to put our hands down by our hips, draw your elbows in, tuck your chin lightly in. And we're simply going to bring our heels in front of our hips, our sit bones. And we're going to inhale and tuck the tailbone toward the earth. Your belly's going to rise. You're going to feel a little bit of a curve here under the back. And then as you exhale, curl the tailbone under. Engage your abdominals and flatten the back. Just simple as that. So using Ujjayi breath, inhale, rock the tailbone down. And as you exhale, curl the tailbone under, engage your abdominals, and flatten the back. And inhale. Feels so great to do this. Exhale. If this is too uncomfortable, you could let your feet slide out in front a little bit. Inhale. And exhale. One more sequence. Inhale. And exhale. Now while your tailbone is tucked under, maybe bring your knees into your chest. And just rock from side to side a few times. Let your head roll around. Let your neck be very loose. We don't want tension in any part of the body. You may be holding tension in the neck right now, in the shoulders, especially if you had a tough drive or a tough day today. Or maybe you were shoveling snow. Or maybe you're out surfing if you're in a nice warm place. I wish I was surfing. Come back to the center. And we're going to keep our knees bent, but we're going to open our legs. Put your hands right on the fronts of your shins, right below your knees, and open your feet up. Just let your feet dangle here. Again, make sure that your shoulder blades are underneath your body. Tuck your tailbone lightly. And then we're going to pretend there are pencils pointing up at the ceiling from our knees. We're going to draw tiny little dime-sized circles on the ceiling with our knees going clockwise. So just very simply rolling through. And I want you to be really relaxed, so everything starts to just roll. And each breath that you breathe, your circles are going to get larger and larger, and more of your body is going to get incorporated. So remember, the smaller the circles that you draw, and your knees are going the same direction each time with each other, the smaller the circles, the more in your low back you're getting. The larger the circles, the more into the whole trunk of the body you're getting. So vary it a little bit. Relax and breathe. You may even notice that your head starts to go the opposite direction from your knees if you get really relaxed, and that feels wonderful. No tightness. Come back to the center, hug it in, then open it up again, and draw those tiny dime-sized circles going the opposite direction, so counterclockwise. And that just feels really good down my lower back, which is sore right now, really tight. And then I'm going to start getting larger and larger circles. And just really let myself go here. This is so wonderful. You'd be surprised how much tension is accumulated through the day that this will release. This is great before you go to bed. Great before your yoga practice too. Then come back to the center and give yourself a hug. Excellent. Now tuck your chin to your chest, draw your lower abdominals in, and just curl your knees to your forehead. If that's too tough on your neck, keep your head down and just draw your belly in and roll the upper body slightly forward. Don't tense your neck or your jaws. But I'm pretty strong in my abdominals, so I'm going to roll up. And then I'm going to roll forward and back like a rocking horse. And massage along my spine, my kidneys and my adrenals. Still using my abdominals. And then I'm going to rock it back up. Excellent. Wonderful, so you should start to feel nice and warm and comfortable in your body, and we're going to come up to the front of our mat now. Be sure you spread your toes out nice and wide, and your feet are parallel. Doesn't matter whether your feet are together or apart, but if you're really tight, I suggest having them a little bit apart at least. If you need to slightly bend your knees, that's okay, but don't slump. Remember, drawing up through the body, including the kneecaps, and drawing down through the back. Spread your fingers out, turn your thumbs back. Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's take a few ujjayi breaths right here, maybe wiggling your toes and feeling the four corners of your feet in the earth. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. On the next in-breath, we're going to bring the arms above the head if that feels good to you. If it doesn't feel good to you, hands come out in cactus. So, arms up. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart, as if you were pulling energy into the heart with that breath. Inhale. Maybe lifting the heart a little, tucking the tail. Exhale to the heart. And inhaling. Maybe a little back bend here, and exhale. Come down the center line, bend your knees. Place your lowest lower belly on your knees, and then hands or fingertips on the floor. We're going to come into the half forward bend, or Ardha Uttanasana now. So inhale, and just lengthen a little bit. You don't have to straighten your legs all the way if you don't want to. You can keep your knees bent, but maybe draw your hands up your shins. Exhale, fold in a little more. Maybe straightening the legs a little more, drawing the belly up and in, and drawing the shoulders toward the hips. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, folding in. Inhale one more time. Exhale, fold in. You can keep the knees bent and then straighten the legs. Then fold your arms. Rest your forehead on your forearms. And then begin to just sway your upper body like an elephant's trunk. Remember, you can keep your knees bent for this if that feels better. Don't worry about how deep in the forward bend you go. Just allow yourself to hang here and to release all the tension in your hamstrings, your low back. Just breathing. And then bringing the fingertips to the earth. Once more, inhale, come halfway up. And as you exhale, bend your knees, plant your widespread fingers on the floor. You're going to step your right leg back in a lunge so that your left leg is over your left ankle. So I'm going to turn around here so that you can clearly see what I'm doing. Left knee over my left ankle. Really moving strongly through my right heel. And then I'm going to turn my left foot out about 45 degrees and bring my hands or my fingertips here on the inside under my shoulders. Inhale, lift your heart, push your hips forward. You'll already feel this in your hip and the left side. Then exhale, wiggle your right foot back and drop to above your right knee. Keep breathing here. Inhale, push your hips forward. Lift your heart. If you like, put your hands on your left thigh and draw your shoulder blades down the back. Lift through the heart and drop your tailbone. Breathe in here. Well, that feels great. A couple of breaths here. Now take your right hand or your fist and place on the floor. If you have tired wrists, the fist is good. Right hand comes to the floor. Squeeze your belly and then lift up through your left arm. Twist. Now you could keep your left knee up, or if you want a little bit more in the hip, let that leg start to draw open. Coming into the pinky toe side of the foot. Feel that breath. If you like, you could even chicken wing that left arm around. Nice deep breaths. And then lift up, drop that foot in, and bring the hand back down. Lift up through your right leg, and step back with your left foot, coming to plank, high plank, or knee plank. Remembering that everything on the front of the body goes toward the ceiling, very strong. Use your abdominal core here. Tuck your tailbone under. Inhale. Then as you exhale, bend the elbows straight back, letting the belly and the chest be the lowest or the last thing to come to the earth. Hug those elbows in, tuck the toes, tuck the tailbone, and then roll the shoulders down the back and lift up to a baby cobra, just a baby one. And then begin to roll the shoulders around. Oh, I can feel that. And all those little muscles between my low ribs and my hips, my thighs. Oh, feels so good. Let your head roll around. Breathe. Do it in whatever fashion feels best to you. And then come back, tuck the toes under, and lift up, hips up, head down. For your first downward facing dog, really spreading the fingers, lifting through the hips, maybe pedaling the feet if you're tight especially. We call this walking the dog. Taking your time with it. Remembering that your ears go between your arms. Shoulders toward the hips, hips toward the sky, and then if you like, feet to or toward the ground. You could bend your knees if you need. Really strengthen through your legs. Really press your legs back and up through the thighs. Breathe in. Excellent. And on the next inhale, come up on the tiptoes, bend the knees, and step, or you can float between the hands. Come halfway up. Inhale. Exhale, fold in. Beautifully done. Now on the next inhale, come halfway up. Take a big step back with that left foot so that your right knee is right over your right ankle. You may have to adjust a little bit here. Really strengthen through that left leg. Squeeze your belly, lengthen your spine, then turn your right foot out 45 degrees. Bring your hands in, and as you inhale, push your hips forward, tuck your tail under, lift your heart, and And as you exhale, wiggle that left foot back and drop to above the left knee. Oh, slow as can be. It feels good already. Really working my shoulders down my back now. I bring my hands to my thigh if I need to. And then I lift up, tuck my tail. I lift my heart. Oh, it feels so good. Wonderful. And then if you like, left hand or fist comes down on the inside and rock that right arm up. Remember, if you want more, let that right leg drop open. You can chicken wing the right arm. Just allow yourself that pleasure. Oh, it feels so good. I can just feel my spine popping here. Everything's getting into alignment. And then I come up, drop my foot in, hands come back down, lift through the left leg strongly. Remember, strength on the front of that body. Step back, plank, or knee plank, you choose. And then hugging the elbows in, lower down slowly. Releasing the toenails into the floor, tucking the tail under, rolling the shoulders down the back, and inhale, cobra. And again, if you like, you can do that snaky spine. Feels so great. Or you could just work on it, getting a little higher here, or lifting off for upward facing dog. Tuck your toes under, rock the hips up, come back to downward facing dog. And from downward dog, you may want to even wag your tail a bit and be a happy dog. Come back to your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Excellent. Then coming up on the tiptoes, bending the knees and looking forward, and either stepping or floating to the front of your mat. Come up. Inhale halfway. And then as you exhale, fold in and then separate your feet about hip width apart. Lift your toes up. I'll move over here so you can see. Lifting the toes up, I'm going to place my palms under my feet so that my big toe touches my wrist. You'll have to bend your knees probably to get into this position. This is called Padahastasana in Sanskrit, the language of yoga. Americans usually call it gorilla. So you're going to take a deep breath in here, lift up, and then pressing into the hands with the feet, you're going to keep your belly turned in, draw your shoulders down your back, draw up through the knees, and fold in. Don't force the head. Feel those hamstrings giving into that nice stretch. Feels great. Then inhale, bend your knees, release the hands from the feet, and come all the way up. Maybe interlacing your fingers like this. I'm reaching for the sky, palms to the sky, draw the shoulders and the tailbone under, kneecaps through the belly up, tuck the tail and come into a nice back bend. Oh yeah. Release to the heart. Grand. Alright, so you start to be feeling pretty warm now. So, let's do a couple of flows. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step back to plank or knee plank. And and lower down the throat. Slowly through chaturanga, elbows straight back. Inhale like an ocean wave into cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, stepping or floating between the hands and coming halfway up. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, folding in. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, stepping, or if you like, floating back to plank or knee plank. And lowering slow. Inhale. Into the up dog or cobra position. Exhale, down dog. I'm going to stay here for just a moment. I'm going to get my crazy hair out of the way. Sometimes you just can't take it any longer. So we're in down dog. We're going to inhale that left leg up. Hips are even. And then bend the left knee and point the left knee out to the left and let your left heel move towards your right shoulder. Oh, that feels so great. Look underneath your left armpit. Now inhale, look up. And as you exhale, round your back and bring your left knee in towards your forehead. Really squeeze your abdominals. Inhale that left foot up. And this time exhale, come to that rounded squeezy plank. And inhale, left foot up. Exhale, come in, round it. And inhale, look up and bring that left knee to the left wrist. Walk the right foot back. Working on pigeon again. And roll the shoulders down the back. Tuck the tailbone under. You may have to come up on spider fingers, fingertips here. Remember, really work that back toward the ground. Don't lean to one side or the other. And if this is really tough, you may want to draw your left heel into the left inner thigh. If you're more flexible, flexing the left foot and having that shin parallel to the front of the mat. Lifting up, breathing. This is pigeon pose. Notice where you're resisting. Are you tight here, tight in the jaws? Is your mind really tight? Just breathe. And then we're going to come down in a wave. So draw the shoulders and the tailbone down the back. Inhale. Lift the heart. Exhale. Fold in. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Keep the belly working. Inhale, lift. And exhale, folding in. You could bring your hands under your chin if you're really tight. Make sure your hips are in the even plane. Or you could bring your head to your fists, your forearms, or just down to the earth. Oh, that feels magnificent. Take a few deep breaths here. This is an especially great pose if you have been doing a lot of athletic stuff, like maybe you're a runner, or you played tennis, or you just finished a game of basketball, or maybe you just had a rough day. Get warm first with a few sun salutations, and then come into this posture. And then when you're ready, come up. Keep the belly nice and strong. Keep the tailbone tucking. Walk the hands back by your hips and roll the shoulders down the back. Lift up. Inhale. Nice and tall. Spread your fingers out, hands on the earth. Curl your right toes under. Lift through the right leg Bring the left leg back. It feels a lot longer than the right leg now. Inhale, plank or knee plank, and then lower slowly. Inhale into cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. And then bend the right knee. Turn the right knee out to the right side of the room and let the right heel fall back toward the right or the left shoulder. Turn and look under your right armpit. I got a slippery mat today. And then inhale, look up, and come into that rounded back, the squeezy plank. Then inhale, right leg goes up. Exhale, bring it in. Squeeze. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squeeze it. Really round it. Really feel those abdominals. And then look up. Point your right wrist. Set your shin down. Walk that left foot back. And then drop to above your left knee. Remember not to hunch forward. Use your abdominals and your back. And lift up. Walk the hands back. Get your hips even. Sit bones are facing the same direction in the same plane. And then come up. If you can, and breathe. If this is too tough, maybe have a chair next to you where that you can touch and lift. Remember, the tougher it gets, the deeper and slower you breathe. If you can't do this, come down in child's pose, bringing your big toes together, knees wide apart, lay out forward, and just breathe. So those of us who are in pigeon, we're going to come down now, the same way we did on the other side. Inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling, coming down. Inhaling. And exhale. Inhale. Remember to keep your abdominals in. I have to talk to myself a lot about that these days as I get older. And then as you're ready, coming down in whatever position feels good to you here. To draw the muscles of the shoulders down the back, tailbones tucked, hips are in the same plane with each other, and relax. Notice where your body's resisting. Is your right hip really tight? Your right glute? How about your shoulders? Your jaws? Spend some time here and breathe. And then inhale, we begin to come back up, just the reverse of how we went down. Taking some deep breaths. Noticing where we might be having some imbalances from the left to the right side. And then flattening our hands out under the shoulders, curling the left toes under, lifting up, and walking back to downward facing dog. From here, we're going to come to the tiptoes, bend the knees, and jump or float forward, and inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, fold in. And as we're folding in, again, maybe separate the feet a little bit, and I'm going to turn towards you and show you this one. Spread your toes out. Again, maybe bend your knees and get your belly on your leg, and then draw the belly up and in. Roll your shoulders down your back, come halfway up, inhale. Then as you exhale, take your peace fingers and wrap around each big toe, touching your thumb to your forefinger. Set your feet back on the ground, pressing into the peace fingers. Now inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, draw the shoulders and hips towards the sky. Straighten the legs, bend the elbows straight out, draw your belly up and fold in. So don't try to get your head to your legs. Try to peel the lowest belly toward the legs. Bring your weight forward a bit. And just breathe. Maybe shake your head no. No to judgment, no to self-criticism, no to analysis, and yes. Yes to getting more flexible, more happy, having more enjoyment in life, more health. And then release the fingers and inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And we're really going to separate the feet. At least mat width apart. Now some of you are really, really tight in your back body. That means that you may have to get a rolled towel and place underneath your heels, or roll your mat up underneath your heels. But what we're going to do is have the feet slightly turned out, heels slightly turned in, and then think about your tailbone as a spike that you're going to drive down in the ground. Again, nice straight spine, breathe in. And as you exhale, bend your knees and sit it right down. Bring the backs of your arms to the insides of your legs. Hands come together in the Anjali Mudra, the prayer mudra. Really press out with the arms, press in with the legs. Press down and under with the tailbone, up and through the pelvic floor and the belly, and down from the shoulders. Lift the crown. This is a form of Malasana. As you get more adept, your feet will look straight ahead. But don't feel like you have to do that today. Work on your strength in the trunk of the body and breathe. And if you can, practice being in Malasana many minutes at a time, several times a day. I like to garden this way when there's a garden to play with. I like to read a book sometimes on the floor or on a chair right in front of me. If you happen to be a TV watcher or you're watching a movie, get down on the floor and do this several times a day. Maybe you do this up against the wall or your couch as well, or you put a cushion under your bottom until you get better at it. Very, very good for your spine. It gives traction to your lower back. It's wonderful for your internal organs, and it's great for those hips again. Excellent. Bring the fingertips to the earth. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, heel toe your feet in and fold in. Inhale, coming all the way up. Should feel really good now. Exhale, we're going to bring, I'm going to go backwards from you. We're going to bring the left hand down the hip. We're going to lift up through the right arm, lift up through the entire front of the body, and then we're going to bring the left ear towards the ground. Feeling all of this opening. Inhale, come up. Hands touch. Exhale, right arm goes down. Right ear goes toward the ground. I'm doing my left ear, so I'm kind of on the mirroring you. Remember not to scrunch your shoulders. Breathing. And inhale, come up. Exhale, hands to the heart. So we'll do a standing balance now. It's one of my favorites. You may want to come to a place where you can put your hand on a chair or a wall, or if you want to, hands on invisible walls. It works just as well usually. You'll want your feet to be parallel. Again, spread the toes out. And now we're going to use the mind. You should be using the mind all the time in your yoga practice. It's one of the 8 limbs. You know, self-study, inner focus. So we're going to use our imagination and think about there being a big taproot coming from the center of each foot on the bottom and going down through wherever you are deep into the earth. A big giant taproot. And then from that taproot, lots of baby roots coming out in a big giant round ball shape, going as deep and as wide as you can imagine under each foot. If you think about a tree in the summertime, if you dug that tree up, you'd have a root ball that was the same shape and almost the same size as the limbs and the leaves of the tree. It's very balanced. That's how it can withstand so much of the weather's tortures, especially the wind. So we want to think about having that big rooted system into the earth energetically. Stand in mountain pose. Really feel those roots. And again, I'm going to be backwards from you. I'm going to press into my left foot, and I'm going to, without rocking my left hip out, you're going to use your right. You're going to step into your right foot and turn your left knee out and just kickstand the left heel in. So when you first do it, that right hip might go out, draw it in, so you're in a straight line. Again, you could hold on to something or those invisible walls, or you could put your hands on your hips if you like. And this may be all you want to do. If you have knee problems, you may want to keep that standing knee bent just slightly, and then work your way up to the nice, strong, straight leg. Those of you who are more advanced, perhaps you're going to take that heel to the top of the shin, on the inner shin, never against the knee because the knee is very delicate, and open up that left knee and lift. Maybe you stay here, maybe you grow your branches. There are many places you can go in tree. You could take that left heel and bring it up into your groin, and then think super glue or Velcro. And just breathe. Or you can do something fancy with your hands. Whatever feels good to you. Whatever brings you joy. You know, follow your, as Joseph Campbell used to say, follow your bliss. One of my teachers who's an ultra-terrestrial, ultra-dimensional being, Bashar, he says, follow your highest excitement. For right now, my highest excitement is to just be a tree. And breathe. And then when you're ready, coming down, hands to the heart. Big inhale up. Exhale, fold in. On the next inhale, come all the way up. And before we go to the other side, we're going to do a little back bend, a little heart opener. Because we're doing a lot of forward bends, we also want to counteract that with the back bend. Remember, you don't want to tense up your glutes when you do a back bend or a heart opener, because that's going to tense up your low back, and the whole point of this is to get the low and the upper back more flexible, more comfortable. So take your hands, place on the low back if you can. If you can't do this, maybe you just cross your arms. Tuck your tailbone under, draw your shoulders down your back, and bring the elbows toward each other. Tuck your chin towards your chest, and lift up through your kneecaps, through your pelvic floor, through your belly. And as you inhale, lift your heart towards the sky. Keep your chin tucked in, and if your hands are noticing your bottom tightening up, release it. If you feel safe and want to let your head drop back, go right ahead. Coming up slowly, inhale, then exhale, folding in. Just a little one. Then inhale, come up. Hands to the heart. And we'll do our tree on the other side. Remember, if you're advanced or been practicing a while and know some other versions of tree, or maybe you just get a thought of how to make another tree, go right ahead. This is your time to freely express. So pressing into your left foot, I'm going to press into my right, pulling my left hip in, my left hip. Turn your right leg out and kickstand. Or heel up. Or into the groin, as we did before. You know, at first, maybe you hold it here. Or you could do the classic tree, which brings the pinky toe side of the foot long into the hip crease of the opposite leg. That knee drops. And you lift through the body. And there are many other things you could do here, but I'm going to stay here. I want that hip to open. I'm applying my drishti, my focal point. My eyes are gazing ahead of me, breathing unblinkingly into the spot that they're gazing at, smiling. And then bringing myself out. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, folding in. And then once again, heel-toeing your feet out as wide as the mat. You could turn your feet out again, heels slightly in, and come back into Malasana. Remember how we did it before. And you can stay here if you like, especially if this is enough for you. Or you can come back and work into those hips a little more. So again, working backwards from you, I'm going to place my right hand on the floor. You can place your left hand on the floor and then reach. If you like, you could reach around and see if you can clasp your hands and bind it pose. Pulling the hands toward the ground on that left side. Release. Bring the hands to the heart if they're not already there. Breathe. Lengthen that spine. Then if you want to go into the twist, your right hand goes down, my left is going down. Notice I'm opening up through that hip, and then I'm twisting. Squeezing the belly. Maybe I wrap. And if I want to try for that clasping and binding, I just lift my tailbone for a moment, and then I come around. Pulling the hands toward the ground, and binding and breathing. Feels so great. Lift my heart. And I release back. Back to the heart. Always returning to the heart. And then coming down, and just windshield wiper your legs a little. Great. Okay, so from here, we're still working on those hips. We're going to bring ourselves into a diamond. So your legs may come way up here, especially if you're not used to this position. You want to bring your sit bones underneath you. And if this doesn't feel real comfortable, you may want to take a cushion, a pillow, or some rolled towels and place under your legs. Especially if you're really tight today. We're going to work on this area right here to try to get it really flexible and loose. and to really help us get comfortable in our bodies. So today's posture, we're not going to bring our feet in like this. We're going to leave them in a nice big diamond shape. And we're going to hold on to the shins and roll the shoulders down the back, lift up through the pelvic floor and the belly. Just get nice and straight. And then notice if you tighten up in here. If you did, release, release, release. Just breathe. Take your right ear to the right shoulder, not the right shoulder to the right ear. Breathe into the left side of the neck. Let your legs start to release and relax and let go. And then inhale, bring your head up. And then as you exhale, drop the left ear to the left shoulder. Draw your right shoulder down. Draw your left shoulder down. And then inhale, come up. And then remembering, I'll kind of come head corner to you so you can see this better. Remember, we don't want to round the back. We don't want to round the back here. We want to stay with a nice long spine as far as possible as we can. So again, using that upper back strength, lifting up, using the pelvic floor and the belly strength, we begin to come down, straight down from this lowest lower belly. So bring it in. Maybe you don't go very far. It's okay. It's not about doing this. That's not going to achieve what we're trying to achieve today. We're trying to loosen all of this up. This right here, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, is where we carry a lot of our negative feelings, a lot of our unwanted baggage. Why do you think we put on so much extra weight in this area? It's to insulate us from the pain of negative feelings and emotions and memories. So today we're going to try to release a lot of that. So we might want to do the peace and release practice as we breathe. Inhaling, breathe in peace. Exhaling, as you begin to come down from the lowest lower belly, breathe out, release. Release the hips, release your tension. Every time you inhale, breathe up a little, breathe in peace. And every time you breathe out a little, breathe out, release. Allowing yourself to just relax wherever you can in this process. Don't force anything. Allow. And if your ankles start to get sore, maybe roll up a little hand towel and place underneath there as well. My legs are so used to being on the ground, they don't care, but especially if you're new or you're not quite as amply endowed as I am, you might want something under those ankles. And then begin to come down, lower and lower. Maybe you bring your hands under your chin and you just rest here. Just breathe. Those legs begin to open. Think about letting go of all those feelings that are not helpful, not upholding your highest or greatest joy or excitement. Let them go. And then gently come up. If you're feeling pretty good about it, you could try once more to come down. And then we'll go into a little bit of a twist to help get the ribs away from the thighs. So you're coming down. And then I'm just going to lean in to my right side. Bring my left arm over. Maybe I even chicken wing it down my back. It just feels good to be here. And hang out and just relax, close your eyes, breathe. Drawing the belly in. You could stay here as long as you like when you're doing your own practice, and if you're watching this and it's not live, you could hit pause and just hang for a while in any of these positions. So good. But we're going to inhale now and come up. Nice and tall. Readjusting everything. And we're going to come down the other side, taking our time. Just falling in. Oh, feels so great. And then coming up. Big breath in, lengthen. Drawing everything up and in, and on that last exhale, coming down one final time, you might find that you've got a lot more space now. And then coming up. And taking your time to lift the knees, to windshield wiper your legs, and then maybe to do some toe circles, especially if your ankles are a little sore from that. And then coming down onto your back. Bringing the feet in front of the sit bones, knees bent. Again, drawing your shoulders under your back and drawing the tailbone under, letting the weight come down, tucking your chin in, hands down by the hips. And remembering our first movements at the beginning of class, you might only want to do that, just that rocking of the spine that we did. Or you could do a couple of these as we breathe in and out, flattening the back, using your abdominals, breathing in, breathing out. And once you're nice and flat down in here, you might want to lift the hips. Tuck your chin in towards your chest, lift, lift, lift. Your knees are parallel. This is bridge pose. Be sure that you're tucking your tailbone under. And if you like, you can bring your hands under your hips and reach towards your feet with your interlaced fingers. And slowly come down. Wiggle your hips side to side. And then one more time, a bridge pose, or just that rolling that we did. You might even take your thumbs and place under your hips to get a little higher. We'll offer a back bending, heart opening class soon, where we can go into wheel and all sorts of other things. And then come on down. Release it. Again, windshield wipers. And then some of you may want to stick with bridge, or maybe you want to do a spinal twist, which is just something like this. Or for me, I like to go into shoulder stand from here, so I'm going to still use those same principles, flattening them back, coming up. Really bringing all of the weight along the upper shoulder blades, chin tucked in,
and then drawing everything in, making sure there's no weight on my head, or my neck especially. I'm trying to align my ankles, my knees, my hips, my ribs. Breathing. Eventually coming down. Hugging myself, rocking and rolling. And then opening the legs wide, flexing my feet. And you could just hold the backs of your thighs and pretend you're going to step on the ceiling with your feet. So keep them flexed and pull the thighs down. Shoulder blades and belly and low back into the ground. This is a modified happy baby pose. Or you could take your hands to the outsides of the feet. You want your legs to be on the outsides of your ribs. Breathing. Drawing your pelvis toward the earth. Shoulder blades toward the earth. Have some fun with it. You can rock and roll. You could take your peace fingers around the big toes again. Come to it from here. Maybe even try to move those feet. Just breathe. And then if you like, bring your feet together. Drop the feet into the earth. Tuck your tailbone under. If you want, you could prop the outsides of your thighs again. Shoulder blades down, tuck the chin in, palms up. You can put one hand on your tummy, one hand on your heart. This is goddess pose. And you could take your Savasana, your meditation, in this pose if you like, which is wonderful. Or you could start here and then eventually stretch the legs out, let the feet fall open, bring the hands down. You could use an eye pillow over your eyes, or I like to use a scented folded washcloth. You could cover up with a light blanket. If your low back is very tight, you could put a cushion or pillow, rolled up towel under your bent knees. Or you could flatten your feet on the outside edges of your mat, bend your knees, and let the knees fall in and touch each other. And that releases the low back as you curl the tailbone under and then relax. Whatever you do, get very comfortable. We're now in Savasana. Savasana actually translates into corpse. Not to be maudlin, the ancient yogis realized that our yogic practice, especially the asana practice, was to help us get comfortable in our bodies so that when it's time to release from them, we can relax not just the body, but also all of the mind chatter. And we can allow ourselves to consciously move to the next realm or dimension, whatever it is that we're supposed to do once we let go of this body. And in fact, there are many tales and stories, many of them I know are true, because I have known people to do this, of great yogis, great masters, who have achieved Mahasamadhi. In other words, they've decided when they want to let go of the body, and they get conscious and relaxed, and they just leave this world. Paramahansa Yogananda was one of those. And in fact, he gave a big lecture to a wonderful filled hall of devotees one night, and then left the hall,
looking very happy, very relaxed. In fact, there's a picture of him lecturing right before he did this. Then he left the hall, went into his little room, and let go of his body. Really sweet story. I come from Paramahansa Yogananda's lineage, the Kriya lineage. I've studied so many other types of yoga, but I really like his path. So it's kind of the one I focus on the most. So anyway, while you're in corpse pose, Savasana, whichever form of it that you're in, I want you to release and to relax and to let go. And to just envision yourself consciously letting go of that body. Not to be gory or dark, but rather to joyfully know that you can go into the other realms of being by just focusing. Focusing on your breath, focusing on being still, relaxing, letting go. Just letting it all go. Let your body be so warm now from our practice that it is melting. Like warm taffy on a sunny day. Just let it release and relax and let go. Let go of all the tensions and the stuff that's been holding you back from your joy or from your goals. Why not release all of the blocks that are holding you back from your greatest joy? Give them back to the universe. They'll be taken care of. They'll be recycled into a different energy, something that someone else can use on their journey, on their path. So when we say surrender, when we say let go, we're not saying give up. We're saying give back. Everything is energy. And energy should be circulated. As you give, so shall you receive. That old adage, as is above, so is below, as is within, so is without, that really applies here. So let it go. Don't hold on to things like grudges or memories that don't serve you anymore, or practices that don't serve you anymore, habits, what we yogis call samskaras. Let it go, gladly. And as you release and let go, as you surrender, you have all this space in your being, in your consciousness, in your body to receive health, to receive happiness, to receive abundance. Give yourself permission right now to make that space and then to gratefully welcome all that you require and desire into that space. To gratefully receive, to vow to wisely use, and to generously share for the greatest and the most harmonious good. If you haven't already done it, close your eyes and let your body and your mind expand out into the farthest reaches of the universe, or what I call the divine infiniverse. Let yourself travel wherever you may go, or even better, just be still, just be in this point of eternal power, the present moment. Let the sound of that little chime draw you back from your journey, back into your body. And as you come back into your body consciously, why not consciously recreate that body, that mind, that heart, the way that you'd like to have it in this, your next phase, your newest version of yourself. Bring back all of the gifts that you may have gathered on your way, and allow yourself to really crystallize all of that into your cells, into your atoms, into your DNA. Wake everything up, all those locked secrets that you've been carrying around for eons in your consciousness. Unlock them now and let them all come together harmoniously in this body, this mind, this spirit, bringing forth the new human, the new you, the more divinely aligned you, the one who's happy, who's healthy, wealthy, and wise. And then begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and bend your knees and bring your knees into your belly and wrap your arms around your legs. And as you do, give yourself the biggest hug you ever gave anyone. Rock yourself from side to side or forward and back. And as you do this, hugging yourself, tell yourself, I love myself. I really love myself. Knowing that you have to love yourself first before the world can love you, before you can love the world. And then turn to one side, just let your knees stay bent, drop to one side, let your head fall to the lowest arm, and gratefully acknowledge that you are not just a child of the universe, but right now a child of this earth, this planet. Feel yourself on the earth and gratefully let your pulse be the pulse of Mother Earth. And push yourself up into any seated position that feels good to you tonight. Now on your cushion or your mat, take your time to come up. Noticing that your hips feel a little bit more flexible, your body might feel a little taller, your mind might be clear, and your heart might be happier. Once you're up, bring your hands together in the Anjali Mudra one more time at your heart and feel the love that's there. That deep, abiding love, that unconditional love. And then send it out in little streams of light to the hearts of all beings everywhere, every single one of them, no matter who they are or what they've done or where they've lived or when. Make yourself the center of this beautiful universe of divine love and light. As we bow to that light in each other and say the word together, Namaste. Namaste. For the divine light within me recognizes, honors, truly loves, and is always connected to the divine light within you. May you have peace. May you have peace. May you have divine peace. Thank you for coming tonight and being my great teachers and my great playmates. I hope that you enjoyed this class and that you feel great tonight and that you can have a wonderful time. Whether it's nighttime or daytime, wherever you're watching, whenever you're watching, remember that this will be archived. This class will be archived on my live stream page. There'll be an event link for you to click on to go to it at any time. It'll also probably be archived on my webpage, which is www.yourquantumshaman.com. yourquantumshaman.com. It'll be under the Connect tab under quantum frequencies / media. So there are videos on there of some of my other webcasts, and eventually there'll be some radio interviews and all kinds of stuff. So enjoy, and if you got benefit out of the class, my classes are by donation, by love offering, and since this is a webcast class, if you would like to make a donation to help defray the cost of the broadcast, and of course to help me buy groceries, you could go to my PayPal account, which the account name is shaktiuniverse.com, or shaktiuniverse@gmail.com. It's my email address, and it'll be in the event description as well. You could go there, but it's SHAKTI universe, all one word, @gmail.com. Remember, every little bit helps. Keep moving that energy. Energy replenishes as you give it out. So God bless all of you. May you have love and may you be enlightened. Namaste.